What is going on, everyone? I am Bobo Mac, and yes, this is Crisis in the Toyverse. Hope you enjoyed that little intro package I put together, trying to get us in the mood of a Soviet sympathizer as we look at the Mezco Toys 112 Collective Previews Exclusive Red Sun Superman. And the display packaging to kick it off looks very fantastic. It's done in this nice tin collectible case type thing. And yes, it is tin, I believe, or some other cheap metal. And just very wonderfully done. You got everything that's included on the back there. And we have our Red Sun Superman. Let me go ahead and take him off the display real quick, and let's talk about him more in depth. Alright, he is off the display stand, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's go ahead and zoom in first things first on the head sculpt here. This thing is just a reuse of the head sculpt, if you will, from the classic Superman that was released not too long ago. And I didn't pick up that figure, but I do like this head sculpt. I think it's a very good likeness of Superman, or inspired by Superman, however you want to phrase it. I definitely dig the flesh tones that they've used on this thing. It's just got some great detail on it between the hair and the collar piece with even the Soviet stars as I zoom in here. Just a lot of good things going with it. If I back it up a little bit, the costume itself just looks great. I mean, all the way down, we just got some great things, even down to the boots. Now, going from the bottom up, I would like the boots to be a little shinier, but that's just a personal preference. The cloth looks great on this guy. The underwear / belt piece looks great. You got the reds and the black for the belt itself and the little yellow Superman logo. The gloves on all the different sets of hands you get are really done well as well. Excuse me. The cape looks very nice. I'll talk about that more in a little bit. My only minor gripe, I would have to say, would be the chest emblem. Now, it's sewn in there, no problems at all. But I would have preferred it to be more plasticky, and it kind of just feels paperish to me. I don't know what's going on with that. It's just a personal preference, but it's held in there, so we'll see how it holds up over time. But overall, no complaints, minus the two I just talked about. So, while I have Superman here, let's just zoom out for a moment. Let's go ahead and cover articulation. Now, in terms of the head, he can look up a great amount, which is good since he's a flying character. So if you want to get him in a flying pose, you just set him up like that and he's going to work great. But the head can look up, he can look down, he gets side to side, and he does that Exorcist 360 thing, which is always very cool. Now in terms of the arms, they go up that much, they go down. The cloth doesn't really inhibit it too bad. As you can see, I got it all the way around. I wouldn't recommend doing that if you don't want any rips and tears, and I shouldn't have done it either. In terms of bicep, we got a cut right there. Double bend at the elbow, and we got a ball peg system at the hands here. And the hands just pop in and out, and I'll talk about that more in the accessories. But a good range of movement, to say the least. In terms of the upper body, we got that diaphragm joint that allows it to go down that far, go back a fair amount, and side to side, which is very nice for Superman posing and intimidation purposes. In terms of the lower body, he can do the splits, no problems there. He can bring it back down. We do have a thigh cut right there. He can kick up, and he can kick back, which is always nice. And we do have a double bend at the knee here. Very nice, good range of motion. We also have the boot cut. We have ball pegs at the foot. It goes down, goes up, and it gives you some rocking motion. So all in all, a fair amount of articulation for the Red Sun of the Soviet Union. Let's go ahead and talk about accessories and go from there. Alright gang, we are back, and there are a lot of accessories to talk about. So let's move from left to right, top to bottom, and we'll take it from there. So the first accessory I want to talk about is that awesome Brainiac head. Now Brainiac plays a big part in Red Sun, and it was very nice of Mezco to include this. Let me just take that off here so you can see it more in depth. I mean, look at that. It is just sculpted and painted very wonderfully. And the best part is, it can spin around. So very satisfied with that. There are a set of hands so you can hold the Brainiac head. I'll have more of that in the slideshow, but I figured I'd just show this off so you guys can see what's going on. Now, the next accessory is one that's got the toy community divided, if you will. And that is this Soviet flag. Very cool of Mezco to include it. The only problem is it just kind of drapes over and it's kind of flat. This is something that would have also benefited from a bendy wire in it to get it flowing a little better. But it's still nice that they included it. We got the Soviet star here and it's printed out very nicely, so can't complain too bad. The next accessory we have is the wing, not wing, but like, it's a flight posing stand for the bendy wire pieces here to help get the cape to flow out more, is the best way I just described it. This is okay. I'm not a big fan of this. I wish the figure would have bendy wire in the cape, but, you know, the cape still looks really nice. And as far as those bendy wire pieces, you do get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. I've had problems getting it to pose right. Now with other figures with cape, it flows great, but this one, it just doesn't flow too nicely. We also get several sets of hands, so a total of 4 pairs of hands. The 2 fists, we got the flying hands, we got the gripping hands, and then we got a little bit more relaxed glove hands. So that's always cool. And then we get the display stand with the flight bendy piece rod, whatchamacallit, flight stand with it that plugs right in. We got the Red Sun logo there. And then you get the clip. It holds the figure just fine, and it's pretty steady, so nothing really to complain about. So a lot of great accessories here. I think this figure would have benefited a lot from having a couple alternate heads, but, you know, like I said, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. Let's go ahead and do the size comparison and call it a day. Alright guys, I'm back with my review, and here's our size comparison. But before I get started, I forgot to mention one last accessory piece, and that is the Mezco 112 bag, which you can store everything and not lose it. These things are a lifesaver. Anyways, back to the size comparison. In the middle here, we have our Red Sun Superman. To the left of him, we have our BBS Henry Cavill Superman. And of course, we have our Batman v Superman Batman figure. All of the 3 of these were made by Mezco, so they obviously fit in with each other. They look very nice. It's something cool. I'm definitely digging this. So here's the final verdict on Red Sun. Even if you haven't read the comic, I think this figure is fantastic. And if you can track it down, it is definitely worth the purchase. Now, I had to pick mine up on the aftermarket. Was a bit pricey. Pretty much everywhere else is sold out. So you have 2 options here. You either try Entertainment Earth at the time of filming of this video. I believe they still have it up on pre-order. Or you can hit up Amazon from third-party sellers. There's actually one more option I didn't think of, and that's comic book shops. That's how a lot of people got this figure originally. So do the math, figure out if you want this in your collection, but personally speaking, I definitely think it's worth a purchase. So guys, that's going to do it for me. Thank you as always for taking the time to like, subscribe, all those fun things, comment, dislike. I definitely appreciate it. I have a whole bunch of links in the description below. Make sure you check those out, from Extreme Dash Sets to Toy Lover Crew on Instagram to Big Bad Toy Store. And, of course, undercovercapes.com. Also, a huge shout-out to Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle for always shouting me out every Monday night. Guys, I'm going to have a slideshow at the end. Once again, thank you for making it through this video with me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, great googly moogly. Krasnaya